Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday morning, August 8th. I had plans to get up early and get going fast, but my body just wasn't having it. I was hustling all week, uh, and I'm going to show you with the numbers breakdown, kind of the hours I worked, which was not my typical week, but with the CrossFit games in town, I had to take advantage of it when it was here. So this is the numbers breakdown 1 through 7 August. Starting at the bottom and working our way to the top is how we roll here. Grubhub, I did 0. I kind of kicked myself in the butt this last week. I knew the CrossFit games were in town, so I did not schedule any time for Grubhub, no blocks. And honestly, I don't like to do Grubhub unless I'm on the blocks or in the blocks scheduled, because it's just slim pickings. It's really not worth it. So I got $0 this week from Grubhub. DoorDash, I did 1 hour of DoorDash. I think I did 2 deliveries in that 1 hour. I made $28.65. So the hourly rate is $28.65 for DoorDash this week. Spark. This week with Spark, I worked a total of 5 hours with my app on. Now, I didn't get that many deliveries. My earnings this week were $144.50. And that equals out to $28.80 an hour, which is great, right? But it's not the factual number, because $90 of it was from last week of incentives that were rollover money. So out of that, without that $90 incentive, my actual earnings were $10.90 an hour for Spark this week. And I could say, well, I only did 2 deliveries, so that really wasn't that. It should have been like $25 an hour. But I actually had the app on, sitting at the parking lot, waiting for orders. Spark kind of did a loop-de-loo on me this week. I got an order for $40. It was a small order. It was a 2-batch order, a small and a medium. I'm like, oh, I'll knock this out. I was at the airport. I jumped out of the airport, went to the Walmart, which was probably about 7 miles away, go to check in. And when I check in, it's like the small went from, it was like 18 items to 79 items. And the medium, which was like 35 items, went to 160 items. It was crazy. I was like, this is not a small, a medium. This is a large and an extra large. I was like, I called customer service and ended up canceling the order, because the orders, I saw that they were going to apartments, and I was like, oh, this will be easy gig. Let me grab these quick. I don't care if I'm going up a couple flights or whatever. I didn't have my trolley. I didn't have any of my carrying bags. I didn't have any of my coolers. And when I saw how big these orders were, I was just like, no, this is going to be miserable. I like money, but I ain't going to work this hard today. I'm driving Uber. So I jumped back out of it, which in hindsight, I probably should have just toughed it out, but to each their own. So Lyft, this week, Lyft offered me an additional $132 if I did 40 rides. I did not do 40 rides. I only did 10 rides with Lyft, and I only got 10 rides out of doing Lyft for 8 hours. Not a lot of riders this week with Lyft. I guess I could have, if I didn't do Uber so much, I could have got more Lyft riders, but Lyft pays, like in my area, I want to say 20% less. I make 20-30% less on a Lyft, and Lyft very rarely surges, and that's where you make your money for rideshare, is surge prices. So you want to stay with the company that surges most, which is Uber. So a predominant amount of my hours this week were with Uber. But Lyft, I did drive 8 hours. I made $153.23, and that equaled out to $19.15 an hour, which is all right. Uber. Now, when I started the week, it was not looking so good. It was a tough. I was getting rides, but they were very short dip and dunk rides. I mean, I was taking XL rides and still making like $5, just taking people to the Coliseum and back. Uber really wasn't surging the prices. A lot of drivers came to Madison from Milwaukee and Chicago. So all of a sudden we had all these extra drivers. I met 6 of them. There were 6 I didn't meet all 6, but I met a guy who was a group of 6, and they were sharing a hotel room. They were all Middle Eastern drivers from Iraq. They were sharing a hotel room. They were all out of Milwaukee, and they came here to drive for the week. So had a lot of extra drivers, extra competition, held down the surges, kind of hindered things a little bit. And also with that, with Uber, I worked a total of 50 hours this week. And out of that 50 hours, I made $1,957. That averages out to $39.14 an hour, which was a monster. I mean, if you look at it, you say, "Damn, you made $39 an hour and you worked 50 hours." It was a hard trog, and I'm going to tell you, this is the reason why. It was a dancing bear. I was going to call it a unicorn, but there's already a term for a unicorn. So I'm going to call this one a dancing bear, because unlike a unicorn, these actually exist. Yesterday, I was looking at my numbers before I start, or actually I want to say Saturday night, I started crunching the numbers and looking at like how much my earnings were. And I really wasn't that impressed with how much I was making from the CrossFit Games this year. I was like, man, I drove a lot. There was an incentive bonus, but it was only like $53 from Uber. And I'm like, this is not going to be the rally week I was hoping to have. So, but I was like, well, kind of pushed myself, got out early. I was like, maybe we'll get some early morning rides. And there was way more drivers again than riders. And I was just like, oh, this is going to be a bummer Sunday morning, because Sunday mornings, typically only riders you get on Sunday mornings are people going to the airport, or people that, hold on, I'm going to wait for the car to fly by here. People going to the airport, or people that are going to collect their cars from the night before. So they went out drinking or partying, or they were somewhere and they left their car, and then Sunday morning they're just going to retrieve their car. So not a lot of customers on Sunday mornings. So I was kind of bummed out. I get a call and it says XL ride, which is extra large ride, going to Chicago. And I'm like, money. I'm like, right on. It's Concourse Hotel, one of the best hotels in the city. So I'm like, all right, this could be a good customer. XL ride, let's go get it. And that is about 2.5 hour drive. So I'm like, great. So as I'm going there, the customer calls me and he says, "Hey, John, this is Jay. Do you have a problem with going to Chicago?" I'm like, "Absolutely not, Jay. I am on my way to get you. I got a full tank of gas. We're ready to go." He's like, "Awesome." He goes, "I overslept over my flight and I got to get to Dallas because it's my mom's 90th birthday." And I'm like, "All right, cool." Go to pick him up, gets in the vehicle. We start driving to Chicago. We get maybe 3 blocks away from the pickup area. And he goes, "Oh no." He goes, "Oh, I can't get a flight out of Chicago." And I'm like, "Oh." And he goes, "Well, let me check Chicago Midway." So he's looking online as we're driving and can't get a flight out of Chicago Midway. And he's like, "Oh." He goes, "Is there another airport around?" I go, "Well, there's Milwaukee." And in my mind, I'm thinking Milwaukee's a shorter ride. Dang, I'm going to lose some of this money, you know? And he checks and he goes, "Yep, I got a ride. We're good. Go to Milwaukee. I'm like, "Okay, well, you have to change the destination in the ride." So he changes the destination, and he goes to attempt to change the destination and he can't. He's like, "It won't let me change the destination." So he cancels the ride. I stop. He rebooks the ride. But when he rebooks it to go to Milwaukee, which is like an hour shorter, it's like an hour and a half ride with traffic. But when he rebooks it, he books it as a Uber Comfort, which is like 80 cents a mile less. And I'm like, oh. And it's only him in a carry-on bag. So I can't blame him for not taking an XL ride, you know? I was just like, oh, well, at least he made it a Comfort ride. All right. Let's go, John. So we keep driving, and we're driving, and then he goes, "Oh no, I didn't realize I booked it for the 8th. Today's the 7th. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh. And he's like, I can't get a flight for today. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, boss. I go, you want me to keep going to Milwaukee? He's like, just pull over. So I pull over on the side of the highway, on the side of the interstate. And he's going through his phone. He's like, is there any other airports? And I'm like, not really. The only other airport is Minneapolis, Minnesota. And he goes, oh, let me check Minneapolis. He's got to get to his mom's 90th birthday party. Guy's 52, I think. Goes, I got a flight. Go to Minneapolis. I'm like, you got to change the destination. He's like, okay. So he's able to change the destination all the way to Minneapolis. It's a 4-hour drive. The fee I made off of this ride of a dancing bear, which is what I'm going to call it, I made $800, and then he gave me a $50 tip on top of it. So he ended up being a really cool cat. He slept half the ride anyways, and that was kind of nice. I like quiet riders with long drives. I like to talk too, but you know. But getting back to it, Uber, that $1,957 ended up to be $39.14, I said. But without the dancing bear, this week I would have made $26.35 an hour. So that shows you that, like, it could be hit or miss when you do Uber or any of these gig apps. You know, you get one dancing bear and then everything becomes sunshine and rainbows again. You know, you can be not having a great week, and $25.50 is not a bad week, but when you're working a huge event like this and you're expecting more, and that's why I do rideshare. I'm not doing this to make $25 an hour. I want to make more, guys. That's my hustle. That's what I'm striving for. That's kind of the gamification of it all that I like to do. You know, that's why I like driving. You got to know your market. You got to know events going on. You got to pay attention to the things of, like, understanding where the pickups and drop-offs are at, where people are going to want to be at set times when events break, how to work the surges. And that's some of the next videos I'm going to do, a little bit more rideshare, guys, so you guys can get an idea of, like, if you are doing rideshare, how to work a surge, because that's super important. But getting back to it, so a total this week, I worked a total of 64 hours. I made $2,283 pre-fuel. That averages out to $35.61 an hour, which was a great week. Without the dancing bear, it would have been $25 an hour, or $25.50. So that's all pre-fuel. Now let's talk with the fuel this week. I drove a lot more miles this week. I drove 1,234 miles this week. I averaged 38.2 miles to the gallon. My Toyota Sienna is a hybrid. It does really well in the city. If you're going under 20 miles per hour, it'll use that regenerative braking hybrid system a lot more. So sometimes, I mean, I was getting like 40 something miles to the gallon before I drove to Minneapolis. So if you could get yourself a hybrid, a Sienna or a Prius, these things are machines. I love them. Average 33 gallons of fuel spent this week. Gas in my area is now $3.81 per gallon, which is 8 cents less than last week. It continues to drop. So this week in fuel, I spent $126 in fuel, minus my vehicle depreciation because of the miles I put on my car. My car depreciated $185 this week. So after costs of fuel, vehicle depreciation, I made $1,972. It averaged out to $30 per hour. And if I did not have the dancing bear, I would have made $20 an hour. So that shows you the differential. This was supposed to be a rally weekend for me with the CrossFit Games. And if I wouldn't have gotten that dancing bear, it would have only been $20. And that's the most important thing I want you guys to take away from this channel is I am not promoting gig work. Honestly, I think that if you are starting out, this is a hard hustle. I don't recommend gig work for a full-time driver at all. You're really gambling with if you were to have an accident, the hours you're driving, you know, just the stress and pressure. If this is going to be your sole income, it's going to be hard. I'm retired from the military. I have a pension. I have a safety net. So even if I don't drive, today my car breaks and I can't drive anymore, my bills are still getting paid. I'm still going to be okay. You know, I do this for more income and other plans that I have in my future. But if you're doing this as a side hustle, it's great. It's a great way to make side money, you know, a couple hours here and there and get out there and do it. But if you're looking to do this full time, not recommended whatsoever. So that is it. That was a long one. I don't like to do super long videos like this, but sometimes I get ranting on. Hope you guys have a great day, a great week. I am going to be out with some more videos. I had some great questions this week about insurance, about taxes, about, orders that are as soon as possible. So there's a lot of great videos coming out this week. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing. I love having all you guys here. Your questions spark my ideas to do more videos. So if you have questions, put them in the comments below. We'll hit you on the next one. Take care.